Welcome and hello and welcome and hello and welcome and hello. Thank you for joining me on an extremely special edition of Un Poco Moss, the show where we give you just a little bit more. I hate to do this, but I'm a big fat idiot. Let me go turn off my air filter because things loud as all hell. I'll be right back. Sorry about that, guys. Welcome and hello and welcome. Thank you for joining me on a very special edition of Un Poco Moss, the show where we give you just a little bit more. Of course, they call me Little Danny Cornbread DiCarlo because I am moist, doughy, and I crumble under pressure. They call me the tugboat because I'm short in stature. I pull more than my own weight, and I'm rarely far from my home port. Of course, they call me Stubby Cohiba or Stubby Macanudo anywhere in South Florida due to an unfortunate manscaping accident I had long ago with a vintage Vitamix blender. A lesson to all the kids out there: never hang your genitals in a blender. Uh, very risky, very risky. Um, this video is kind of a useless stream of consciousness performance art piece. Do you guys have time for a humorous anecdote? I've recently lost my doctor. He moved, and I have crappy insurance. Like, I'm cheap. I thought, oh, I'm relatively young, which I'm not. I'm in relatively good health, which I'm not. But anyway, I found myself needing a new doctor, and you know, most most of you guys probably look for a doctor. You probably go to like health grades or um, look at where they went to medical school, what they specialize in, their reviews, different things like that. But I'm basically searching for a physician with really long fingers because my last doctor informed me, my real initials are DA, and you might think that stands for Daniel, whatever my middle name happens to be, which does start with an A, but actually stands for deep anus, folks. My last doctor told me I had a deep anus. So if you want to get those checks, you got to start getting, 50 years old, and old Danny's up there. Old Danny, if you count the rings on my tree, you're going to need more fingers and toes in a little bit. But so basically, all I'm looking for with a new physician, I don't care where they went to medical school, I don't care if they're totally unqualified, but I'm just looking for a doctor with extremely long fingers. So if you guys know any really tall, lanky physicians with an extremely long finger, please have them look me up. Danny Deals here on YouTube. But anyway, so I was able to find somebody. He's like, his office assistant said he's like 6'7". I told her I have an extremely deep anus, and she assured me everything would be fine. So I don't know how that helps you with investing, but I was just wondering if anybody else out there is. I don't even know what that is. Like, what is it? What did your doctor? My doctor never told me anything. He's like, doctor, what should I do? My leg hurts. My head, everything hurts. Like, I got all kinds of problems. I can't sleep. It's like, did you know you have a very deep anus? I'm like, well, that's helpful. Anyway, guys, yeah, Jeff, rambling today, but yeah, hopefully this new doctor works out. He's got a super long finger, good sense of humor. I don't know, man. I don't know when these guys go to med school for all these years and do their residency, and they're like, at the end of the day, you're looking up a fat guy's deep anus, and it is the Danny Deals from YouTube, so that kind of sweetens the pot just a little bit. But anyway, guys, enough about my proctology concerns. I don't know what's wrong with me, guys, but I just start thinking about these things. I'm actually looking through all these lists of doctors on the health insurance. My only thought is, how long is this guy's finger? Because and I have nothing against a female physician, but I've never seen, it would be perfect if Arsenio Hall went to med school. It's just like, guy's the longest fingers in show business. Anyway, the great Carl Seamark is here, feeling accomplished today. Still poor, but I bought a new electric toothbrush. Yeah, if you guys don't have like a Sonicare Elite toothbrush, you're basically living in the Stone Age. I mean, if you're using one of those stupid, kids brushes that like they make shanks out of in prison, the free ones you get from the dentist, like you're basically like brushing your teeth with a 2x4. get you a Sonicare, get you one of those Oral Bs, and you'll feel like you went to the dentist every day. It's that good. So giving you all kinds of advice here, but the stupid point of this video, guys, was basically to this phenomenon has been around. I mean, this was very, very prevalent with SoFi, where like the New Year's Michael or Pareto KBW massacre was the best example where the stock, you know, they turn in good earnings, there'd be like one little thing, you know, maybe they'd miss EPS, but like, you know, it wouldn't actually miss. They'd set up the beat, but it would look a little weak in one respect or another, and they'd start talking about defaults, and the stock would basically crash, you know, most earnings, or it would pump and then crash. And you know, I told you guys on Iovance that I bought a lot more at $1.75, and that this ER was actually quite good, and the ramp was going to plan, and the revenue's good. And look what happened, guys. Okay, so the stock's coming in, it's trading about 260. It falls all the way, you know, I don't know where it fell, all the way down to I don't know what this day was. I can't really see. But I think it was a dollar. It fell in post-market trading, I think, to like $1.66. I bought $1.75, $1.76. Now, they're only able to bleed this sideways and down for 2 days. One day, 8.11, strictly the algo is just locked on. And then 8.12, another day sideways. 8.8 is all over the place. They're trying to work it sideways and down. You see this slope they're trying to work. You guys have asked me how I think. I don't know why you want to know how I think about things, because it can only lead you down a very, you know, dark path. But I'm going to tell you how I'm playing these things basically to get richer and richer and richer, because this is just ridiculous. I mean, on all those shares they bought at $1.75, I mean, you can see I'm already up like, I don't know, what is that, like 30% in 2 days, 3 days? I mean, it's candy from a baby. And it's not only this one. I mean, look at what they did with SoFi. Same exact thing. Now they pumped the stock to 25 bucks, and then you get the offering, crashes back down the next day all the way to 20. I mean, so a swing from here to here, from 25 to 20, you're talking about a 20% swing. Lo and behold, what happens? SoFi closes today at the highest level it's closed at in years. In like 3 years, and you see these perfect channels. I think SoFi is going to all-time highs this year. I mean, I'm almost, if this bull market keeps up just a little while longer, we're going to be there, you know, before you even know it. But you have to take advantage when a stock has all this bullish momentum behind it, like Iovance sort of had a little bit, and it crashes. Now the momentum's extremely bullish. I played block this earnings when this crashed from 50. I just bought the hell out of the stock, and you see all the buying pressure come in immediately. What happens, guys? This is May 2nd. Their earnings was May 1st. May 2nd, the stock crashes down to a low of 44.27. Then just by the end of July, it had recovered all the way to 80. So the stock basically doubled in 3 months, almost doubled in 3 months. And it's still sitting. You have to understand, these crashes are not really how stocks behave. And their earnings was, if you get a disastrous earnings, calamitous earnings, some type of FDA trial, you know, crashes and doesn't go right. And I'm just picking out the stocks that I talk about, but it doesn't always go in one day either. I mean, CRISPR, they worked up, you know, sort of a pre-earnings pump, pushed it all the way up to $71. Worked it down before earnings, pumped on earnings, and then, you know, it's not a huge swing, but the stock closes here almost 60 and then opens here the next day, you know, 54. So that's a 10% drop. And then what do you see? We're back up, you know, today the stock touched, I think, almost $60.83. And then there's this this is a really weird day, guys. You see all this accumulation all day long. They're trying to trade the stock sideways. All this buying comes in here. And then in the last, 30 minutes of trading, they crashed the stock from $60.80 all the way down to $57.23. And then after hours, it just shoots. CRISPR is one of the most crazily manipulated price fixed stocks I've ever seen. But what I'm saying, guys, is if you go into earnings with an open mind, don't go into earnings as like a mega bull, non-thinking, knuckle dragging, You know, if I have a tiny wing, every problem looks like a hammer. That just doesn't work because you have to expect the unexpected and you have to have cash on the sidelines and just don't go into these earnings reports anymore, even if a stock has bullish momentum, even if you know that earnings is going to be pretty solid. I mean, with CRISPR, they're talking about, oh, there's a lot. They made a strategic agreement with another company. They bought a bunch of R&D in process. It hit their books. It's a very, very good thing. It diversifies their pipeline, but nobody talks about this stuff. And everybody's talking about the prop drop, you know, like they're the top cop. And I'm saying, okay, they sing. We're a couple months behind. This is a massive transaction. You know, they're a tiny little company and they, you know, absorbed a company 4 or 5 times the size of the whole previous company. And frankly, I listened to the earnings call and management really impressed the hell out of me with their cost cutting measures. The vice president guy that gets like 40 years experience, this guy knows this industry of the DJ basin like the back of his hand. So I know, you know, that prop crashed and it went all the way down, but I believe it's already recovering after hours. I believe it's going to continue to recover. I don't even know what's going on with it, to be honest with you. But yeah, so you see what happens, guys. It comes in. Basically, it's trading at $3.21, drops all the way down to $2.61, and then, you know, trades up, accumulate, push back down. But if you look at the prop chart is one of these insane charts where you could have so much green on this chart even when it's trading down. Like you see there's a lot of red here, of course, to crash it, but then the rest of the day this is pretty balanced. There's some guy on StockTwits I was talking to was saying basically if you analyze this data, you're going to find, you know, a lot more inflow than outflow, and this is, you know, price fixing and manipulation, which I completely agree. But watch for this stock to recover quite quickly if my, you know, thesis is correct, because you see institutions buying, you see insiders buying, and it just, you know, it just never ends. Now, what did I want to talk about in terms of this one? I was going to take a look at SMCI because this is a really good example of the market psychology of why they trade stocks sideways or bleed stocks down. I mean, you can see with SMCI basically what happens. Okay, you come into, I actually thought earnings was better than I expected because what I didn't hear about was accounting irregularities, auditors having problems. They didn't try to recognize anything too early. They didn't press their luck. You know, no whammies, no whammies, no whammies. Wigger for the block. I'll take Bruce Valanche for the block. Bruce Valanche is no longer here. This isn't Hollywood Squares. This is an Arby's. Well, then I'll take a Mile High Roast Beef, extra horsey sauce. How about that? Name and badge number. I was asked name and badge number at a fast food restaurant. Then I asked to speak to their supervisor. I'm a huge Karen. We don't have name and badge number here, sir. This is Arby's. Oh, yeah, then give me a Mile High Roast Beef. And by the way, you said the same thing when you were here yesterday and when you were here an hour ago. Okay. What's going on, Wazir's a man? You are indeed a man in my book. The great Stephen Wolf has joined us. Yeah, it was Jack Survived. It was indeed Jack Survived. And he said his name here was, oh yeah, that's you. You said you were Dick Wolf. Yeah. What's up, Stephen Wolf? Yeah, people are like, oh, there's a bunch of you. I can't believe people imitate me. If you're going to imitate me, at least gain 100 pounds and get yourself a deep anus. Get yourself a doctor with a long finger and do it right. If you're going to have the full-on Danny Deals experience. How do you even ask a doctor when you're voir direing his or her qualifications if they have a lengthy enough finger to handle your malformed deep anus? My last physician informed me couldn't quite get in there and check things out. He recommended I found a taller physician, more masculine physician with rougher hands, larger knuckles. Oh God, I hate getting old, guys. Totally sucks. There's no upside. Like, oh, you have the wisdom, and no, you don't. You just get more bitter, everything. I'm not a lurker. I'm not circumspect. I don't take everything in stride. Oh, I had a stressful day. I'm just going to go for a 40-mile bike ride. Maybe make a few wheelchairs for poor orphans. That ain't me. I Karen, I bitch, I moan, I complain. I curse if my stocks go down a tiny bit. Drive Princess J crazy. Drive everybody crazy. I'm a total turd. Anyway, why do they bleed it sideways? Okay. Look at what happens with SMCI. This is just totally artificial price action. So they drop the stock all the way to 46. It opens at 46.72 and it closes at 40. This range is way too tight for this type of price action, this type of volume. It's all pre-programmed in. And that's not how a stock is going to sell off on that ER, because it's not a huge miss. Anything natural, the stock would sell off 4, 5, maybe 6%. And then if it was going to sell off more, it would start bleeding. This is not an ER that takes you from, 59 to 46. You're dropping the market cap down back like your last year's sales. You just get the market cap at, this year's projected sales, even by analysts, 30 billion. Management's telling you at least 33 billion. I hope they're being, conservative, circumspect. We just don't need any, boasting and bragging, puffery, salesmanship, gamesmanship, blah, blah, blah. I mean, Neo, I don't even know what to do with Neo. The trade, people want to talk about the trade desk. I mean, Amazon's another one I just hit. I just bought Amazon. Google's another one I just bought. I mean, look at the earnings here, guys. They're, showing some weakness in cloud or whatever. EPS surprise, they beat by 26 cents. Consensus was for $1.33. They hit $1.68. What happens? Stock closes at 234, opens the next day at 214, an exact $20 drop. Do you think that's how the stock would trade on a 26% earnings beat due to some technical weakness in the books that, no retail investors are even smart enough to understand? Scratch your butt with your finger and smell it. That's what you guys are up to. Not, sussing out small discrepancies in the balance sheet. What are you going to question the love of Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez, their wedding spending? Think that was approved by the board? I want to go to space, Jeff. It's like, Jesus Christ. Oh, I mean, I don't know. When is it too much money? You're blasting a bunch of women from The View into space with your fiance just for no reason, calling it a breakthrough for women's rights or something. Give me a break. And to hear her gush over, how smart he is and how he taught her to do meetings. And I just want to puke. I just want to absolutely puke. I don't know if I mean, it's not on the level of disgust I have with, say, like a Meghan Markle, or somebody along those lines, but it's pretty up there. It's pretty up there. It's like, enough. Like, we get it. You have huge boobs. Like, I don't have to unfurl those babies at every formal occasion. Nothing wrong with like a nice gown. Something to the imagination. Stretch out those rock hard fun bags. I don't mean to criticize people's appearance because I'm old and ugly, but if you start too much plastic surgery too young, you end up looking like a gremlin. Okay? You end up looking like a gremlin. Go back with like George Carlin with the master of the call, but looking like a gremlin. Okay, looking like a gremlin. Been to these malls. It's like fat people walking around doing fat things, stuffing their fat faces. Bye. Oh, I love George Carlin. Rest in peace. He died, right? I'm pretty sure he died. I never know who died. I'm always wrong about who died. But anyway, Amazon, Google was just down at 150. It's gone up, 33% since. This is free money, guys. I used to say, do a bunch of, look for the crashes. Look for crashes on beats. And look for some fugazi justification for that, but nobody's going to believe that. No, Amazon is making money hand over fist. I mean, I look at Amazon and Google. I'm like, which one should I buy? I'm like, I'll buy Google on the crash, then I'll buy Amazon on the crash. because again, they both make a ton of money. And that's all the market cares about. And, Google's not losing its dominant position in search to Chat GTP. They're doing absolutely fine with Gemini and AI search, and they're a free cash flow machine. I mean, Amazon, they hoard all their money and they reinvest into the company, but Amazon Cloud is still the dominant force, still ahead of Microsoft, still ahead of Google, Azure, and all that, good stuff. So again, this is just free money. You could have just had Amazon at 212. You'd be up 5% already. Just a few days. I mean, this one's a little bit slower because the ER, it wasn't as good as some people were hoping for, but I mean, if you just look at the specs on Amazon, these guys make a lot of money. 18, 15, $20 billion a quarter. And their sales are flat, but they're investing in the future. So, I mean, I'm not somebody who says just put all your money into these big cap names at crazy valuations. But, when these stocks crash on great earnings, to me, it's a buying opportunity. I bought Google. I mean, Microsoft did the opposite. I mean, that's my biggest holding by far. Been Microsoft shareholder, the first stock I ever bought in 1996. Told the story many, many times. Microsoft popped all the way up to I think it was 560 or 570 or something on earnings, and it's done the opposite. It's bled right back down to where it is. So this can go different ways. I'm just saying, I guess the central thesis here is if you want to make money, look for market overreactions. I mean, look at what this thing did on earnings. It's coming in trading at 514. They beat by 8%. Okay, Microsoft beats by 8% because on strength of cloud, the next day the stock, the stock opens at 555 and then comes all the way back down to 532. And then lo and behold, we're back down to 521. We started at 515. Everything always reverts to the mean. Crazy, manipulated, fixed market. It's always resolved by the market, because the market is going to find that true value where buyers and sellers are actually going to meet on the stock. Just sometimes it takes a little while. But if you see these crazy gaps and see this manipulation coming, you can make a tremendous amount of money very, very safely just saying, I'm going to use probability. I'm going to use statistics. I'm going to let time work for me. And I'm just going to let this thing revert back to the mean. I'm just going to let it go where it naturally wants to go. Path of least resistance. Look at where the most volume was. You see a lot of volume coming. This is why I think they're pulling Microsoft down. It's going to go back up. I know it's a $4 trillion stock, but I still think there's a little bit of room to go back up. I think it's going to, if the bull run keeps going, I think Microsoft's going to go back up to this 550 level. I really do. I love Microsoft. I love the management. I love how they run that business. I didn't take that. Can't really remember. See how, as opposed to the other two companies we look at, see how their earnings just keep going up, like last 4 quarters. They earned 24 on 65, then they earned 24 on 69, then they earned 26 on 70, and then they earned 27 on 76. 76 billion in sales, 27 billion in GAAP net profit 1 quarter. I mean, you're bringing 35% to the bottom line. That's a well-run mega cap. That's a well-run business. I mean, I'm not saying, Amazon and Google are not well-run business, but I think Microsoft is the absolute gold standard. I mean, they just piss excellence all day long. No, Billy Jack, YouTube does not approve this broadcast. What's up? The great Justin Maluk is here. Some further education and knowledge on your dropping around prop. We're getting some black market DD. I told you about Iovance originally. You did? Thanks, Kramer. I appreciate that. Yeah, awesome. I'm making really good money on it. I appreciate that. Thanks, man. I can't remember. I look at so many stocks. I remember looking at Iovance. I was like, these institutions are just buying the hell out of this thing. Like, this is a big, big fugazi on earnings. Okay. So they were expecting 100 to 110 patients. They treated 102. And, revenue was a little bit down, earnings a little bit down. I get cash burn is not a huge concern for me with Iovance, because if that ramp keeps going, to plan smoothly, ultimately that drug's going to make a ton of money. And Big Pharma knows that, making them, very, very ripe for a buyout, partnership, some type of agreement with that drug that lets it ramp a lot faster, because should ramp a lot faster. They should be, their application for the EU should have been correct. European Medicines Agency or whatever it is, EMA. Pay the 35%, buy those back defensively. Yeah, they're basically Chris. I'm understanding they have to get. I'm surprised that. Yeah, it is absolutely the elephant in the room for prop. You guys are right. Let's see. COUR, CB is cool. I don't know what the hell COUR is. This the oh, Coursera? Yeah, I looked at this a while ago. What's this guy doing? What's this stupid stock doing? Looks like they just had earnings, gapped up. I can never see these on the Yahoo charts. Raises 11 to 14. That's Needham. Needham's usually pretty good. Let's see. Coursera skyrockets 41%. Revenue outlook. Let's see what they did. So 187 million in sales, 20 million earnings. Been pretty consistent there. What's the market cap we're looking at on this chart? So 2 billion. So awfully high market cap for those earnings. But I assume I don't know anything about this company, honestly. I don't even know what they do. I'd have to take a good hard look at it. But yeah, I don't know anything about it. What do you like about this company? And is this Coursera the memory company? No, that's a totally different thing. I don't know anything about this company, to be honest with you, as you can tell. What even they do? What do these turds do? Snap. Okay, so they're in here. Obviously it's some kind of tech company, but guys, I'll have to read about it. In my mind, I swear I got a little bit more sleep last night, but still it's like a huge sleep deficit. Yeah, when I see $2 billion market cap, so their sales are going to be pretty strong. Like, so, I don't know how the growth is not like ripping, but it's there. I don't know. It's got analysts kind of indifferent, but obviously they had very successful earnings and the stock went way up. So when it gaps way up and then starts going sideways and down, this volume and this pattern makes me think the stock is going to come back a little bit and probably fill this gap. But, I don't know. I don't necessarily believe in like the whole gap filling thing all the time. Anyway, guys, I got to run. I appreciate you joining me. Yeah, Wazir, I'll definitely take a look at it when I get a little more time. Justin Maluk, I owe you a major thanks for the reassurance. Absolutely loading the wagon on some SoFi leaps right after the dilution. Yeah, I mean, Justin, the stock just had so much momentum. That dilution is going to be absorbed. I mean, they're growing extremely rapidly. Their margins are going to be incredible. SoFi is going to all-time highs. There's, Chia Pets and Five Heads can't stop it, guys. It's Un Poco Mas. I got a deep anus and I have to pee. The show's over. Peace.